Hey guys, this is a pre-recorded ranked match on Dry Arabia. We're playing against Narfki. He is playing as the Delhi Sultanate, and yeah, starting our build. We had a pretty clean, we had a really crisp opener there. We were able to. I'm kind of playing around with my opening a little bit, and so kind of what I'm doing now is sending the villagers on the tree, moving the TC, and then pulling my villager onto Uber. So it just gets that TC going like 2 seconds earlier, so it can be kind of nice. We have a forward Uvu here and a back gold, which is nice to have a back gold. Just the forward Uvu is always a little bit worrisome, but because of our timings and stuff, I feel like we'll be in a pretty good spot. And we're just scouting on the side here. If we switch to our opponent here, let's see. His build looks like an actual Delhi build. We played against some other players recently that were at 1300 elo. I think Narfki's at 1400. But we were playing opponents with 1300 elo whose Delhi builds were really off. But this is a much more meta Delhi build. A little bit unfortunate with the sheep. He's only got 2. But yeah, this is a much more meta build. We do our small scouting here. We're back by a minute and a half, so plenty of time in terms of our food. So we don't have to worry about that. And we're dropping off our resources and heading up over here. And we're going to start doing a little bit of a longer pattern now that we have security sheep for age up and a little bit extra. And our opponent is just doing kind of the 8-3 kind of build that a lot of people do. It's not really the best. A lot of people do 8-3, but really 9-2 is the fastest kind of a build that you can do. So a little bit of a mistake here in terms of his macro, I'd say no. And he's over collecting. Okay, alright, so he is rallying onto food there. I was gonna say, I don't know why he's rallying onto gold again. We've got lots of sheep here he's gonna pick up. Always feels nice. And we do have this nice double deer pack right here, which is really, and the boar, so it's just like all of our food is like right here, which is great. And we did start tapping up before him, which is means that in terms of his build that it's not as efficient as possible. So he's definitely a little bit off on his build order. And he is going down with the Tower of Victory. Kind of an interesting spot as well. You usually want to drop it forward. That way your troops rally into it a little bit easier, but yeah, it just kind of depends what a person wants to do. If we look at our vision now, you can see that we're just getting into, we found his TC after finishing pretty much our half of the map. If you look at his vision, he's also got half the map and he's going to come scout us. And at this point we were kind of contemplating going into stables or not, or if you're going to do a Mangadai rush. And so we're going to finish scouting around his base here. We're going to go on the side. And at this point I was pretty much decided that I was going to go with just stables. We'll just stick with the basics, because a lot of people with Ghazi, because of the Ghazi Raiders, are going into Delhi stable OPD. So we're dropping a stable. If you look at our opponent, he hasn't scouted us yet, but he is on the way. We scout his berries and his gold in the back. So we're going to rally our stable up to there. And he is finishing scouting, and he sees the silver tree, he sees our TC, he sees our gold. And we're going to come back over here. Our scouting falcon is online, so we're going to drop it here. And this is really to see, I would have liked it actually a little bit closer to the middle of his town center, just so we could have seen what his first production building is. And he's finishing scouting over here on the map, getting his scouting to 100. The Fog of War real quick, okay. And we have our double Keshiks out. Still rallying villagers on the food here. And this is one thing that I've started to modify a little bit. I've been usually stopping at 10 food, 10 villages of food. But I've been feeling it out a little bit, and I think Sometimes 11 or even 12 is a nicer number, just to make sure your food gets kind of built up. So when you drop your second production building, you can produce from it almost with minimal delay, with less of delay. So we do have our scouting falcon wear out, so we don't get to see that he is going with a barracks play. He did scout. He did not scout. Or he might have. He came around. Yeah, he must have come around and scouted this. So I think he did skeet the stables at this point. Our silver cheese repositioning. We're getting our wheelbarrow upgrade. He's already got wheelbarrow and he's getting his eco upgrades at this time too. And if you look at his vision, he has no idea that this raid is about to come in. And he is sending... He's sending this to go see the silver tree play. So our raid comes in. And he's a little bit late on the draw here. So we're able to get some damage in. And we have to fall back. We do see spearmen, which is unfortunate. We do bring our scout over. And so we just kind of have to fall away from these spearmen. We can probably sit here and fight this, but there's probably more spearmen on the way. This was kind of unintentional. We didn't really want to take this fight, so we back up and we lose our scout, unfortunately. Not the best of micro there. But behind this, we did a really good job of making sure that we get this second production building out, because we've been messing up a lot in other games. Not getting that second production building in time, and getting that Mangadai out early to help push back these first early spears is really big. Our Khan is over here. He dropped his falcon and he's spotting the Ghazi raiders. Blacksmith is coming up, and so we're just kind of harassing over here and pulling micro away. And now that we got 3 Keshiks here and a horseman, we don't mind sacrificing the horseman to let the Keshiks clean this up. Again, nice little, helping reduce that big mass of spearmen is always really helpful. We're able to run away from here. This scout that died, we're able to pick up this sheep and go drop it off at our base here. And behind this, we have started trading. Our first trader's up, the second one is on the way. If we look at our opponent's base now, again, his vision has been really reduced because he loses the scout. He knows our army was over here, so he's going to come over and deal with this push on his food. And we have Keshiks and we have Mangadai. And then the big thing is, you can see, as long as there's a little bit of separation between the spearmen and the Ghazi raiders, we can get in some sneaky hits with our Keshiks. Hit these Ghazi raiders down to half health, which is a big deal. And behind this, we're just streaming in more troops. Again, archery range is on full blast, and so is the stable. And you can see we're at 11 villagers on food, and that's allowing us to produce our villagers as well as from these buildings. So having that extra little bit of resource, extra villager on food has been helpful. And then we decide, because we've gone up to 2, that we're starting to suffer in our resource production in terms of our food production here, like our army production. So what we do is we're committing more villagers onto food here at this point. Khan is idle, unfortunately, and we stopped at 9 villagers on wood. And this is because in part we have 2 production buildings, so we can just get some more units on food and go from there. Just to make sure these 2 production buildings that we have are constantly producing. And they're producing now, which is, again, always nice. Vision-wise, he's just kind of tucked under his base, and he's going after these sheep that he's picked up. He's got 9. And at this point, we're kind of looking around. We see this back patch of berries. We see this back patch of deers. So we know that he's kind of probably on his sheep at this point. And then we're sending our Khan over to go scout out this black area, see if there's any one more deer patch. And we do bump into his spearman army over here, and he was just going kind of on an exploratory mission with these guys, and he's dropped a couple of ranges now. So, and this is one point of the game where I think sometimes I mess up in other games, is I don't commit to enough infrastructure. So we're floating 400 wood right now. We got up to 15 villages on food. We're going to start pulling villagers onto these deer patch. A little bit of a misplay here. I accidentally grouped my villagers with my army, and we'll figure that out a little bit later. So we're pulling villagers onto boar, villagers onto deer, and our army's coming up here, and we still haven't realized these villagers are off onto a wild goose chase, and we're rallying these villagers onto wood, and we're starting to drop more infrastructure buildings. My Khan is over here on this wolf. A little bit unfortunate because we do decide to move it right before those villagers show up. So we're gonna go finish scouting over here in this corner. We do manage to pull these villagers back and go into deer here, and we gotta get our survival techniques upgrade still, I believe. Yeah, we really gotta get our survival techniques. But we've only at this point done really one villager worth of damage. So this is kind of where you have to be careful. We know he's got an army. We could keep trying to dive, but everything under here is basically under his TC. This wood line has to really get developed a little bit before we can really raid it. And he's got a decent army. He's got a big army. Lots of archers in here. And sure, like in a head-up fight, we can probably win this, like just trading out. But we have Mangadai, and they are squishy. And the real value that comes from these Mangadai, because they're so expensive, because we have to remember that a lot of this army value is Mangadai. We got 9 Mangadai here. Our Khan spots out these villagers and he runs away. I almost feel like he should have just kept keeping on these deer, because he had the army to protect it. We weren't actually able to really dive in there. So, but this little stuff that idles his stuff, is little details like this kind of mess with him. And then behind this, we're able to hit his base. We see his army was gonna go protect that deer patch. Again, we're not too pressed about trying to fight his army out on the field. When his whole army all moves over to deal with our Khan, we just go over to the other side. We do send one lone Peshek over here onto gold, just in case he's over there. And now our army is sitting back here, and at this point we probably should have raided his wood line, and we're just moving around. We thought his army might come forward, but then we do see his army over here. So again, this would have been a really good raid to hit his wood line at this point. So a little bit unfortunate there. But behind this, again, we got 8 traders starting to boom there, and we're producing villagers onto wood. And our one villager over here is dropping infrastructure. And that's the big thing. It's like a lot of games, I feel like the big mistake of mine is I forget to drop more infrastructure, and it's really important, especially because we're producing all cavalry. It takes twice as long to produce them versus infantry. And even Ghazi raiders produce fairly quick because they're technically horsemen. Yeah, 13 seconds, so they produce actually really fast. Or maybe that's just because he's got scholars in there. That might be it. Well, either way, we can see he's got if we go to our vision here, Khan is over in the back. We want to see this berry rotation. If we look at the Fog of War, he's basically put all of his villagers onto deer here, or onto sheep here. Our Khan is just cruising around trying to find stuff. We do find him. He does go for this sacred site. And when he goes for the sacred site, I think he should have moved his army up towards this a little bit sooner. We're just going to shift our whole army over. He is going to start raiding us. If we look at our trade, we're sitting at 12 traders right now. So he's got only 2 Ghazi raiders nearby and 2 horsemen. You can see how slow, how meager the damage is on these guys, and his army is about to get here, but we do pick that scholar right before. And now this is kind of a weird position for his army, because it's all archers basically. I mean, he's got 5 spearmen and a couple Ghazi raiders, and they'll do a little bit of damage. He does move on to this forward berries, and so this is kind of like a fight that he's kind of really pressed to push forward. And I kind of had a feeling he was going to go forward with his eco here. There's a berry patch and a deer patch here. But he is raiding our traders here. So he killed 2 traders, gonna kill 3, gonna kill 4, possibly more. So that's where we bring back our army here. And we start rallying to the back. But the big thing is we're up to 5 stables now and 2 ranges. Are starting to drop pastures to start stabilizing our food eco. And we're still rallying villagers onto wood. And yeah, so he was able to kill 4 traders there. But he's gonna lose these 4 Ghazi raiders and a scout. So it definitely puts a little bit of damage and pressure on him, because he's going to have to re-up some of his cavalry here. And you can tell he's just going mass archers. He's going to be up to 40 archers. And so when it starts getting into these big death-balling numbers, it really is tough to deal with. And I was kind of happy that transitioned into a lot of stables here. Mangadai are good, and we have a mass bottle of Mangadai here. We have 18 Mangadai. And we actually decided to take this fight. He's only got a couple of spearmen, and like the spearmen are able to do a lot of damage, and so are these archers. But all of a sudden, even our Mangadai can take this fight in some sense. They're getting beat up, but he has no front line here. So now that he's super invested in this army, and if he loses this all, this is basically the big majority of his armies right here. Behind this, Akan is checking over here. We did say one send lone Kashik over here to start burning down this granary. He gets some value as he gets that burn down. We do go up to his second market, and we're going up to 15 traders here. And we're able to push back his army here, which is a pretty big deal because we figured he was on food here. And if we look at our vision here, we can tell that there's berries are being chewed up. And once he loses this forward position, he's just pretty much in a really bad spot here because now he doesn't have anything protecting this wood line. His next wood line is over here forward. His forward food production has been pulled off. And now he's putting villagers onto the far berries. I think I could have done a better job. I didn't know. I shouldn't have sent my con over here because I had my Keshik. I should have sent my con to the north to the other berry patch. We do decide to stay to get the burn down on this mill. Also, it helps healing up the Keshiks we got for a little bit, which is always nice. And production is just going to town. 2 ranges and 5 stables. And behind this, 19 traders. So Eco's way ahead, and this is mostly because of trade, because he's actually killed a little bit more Eco than we have. Behind this, our con sees that he's rotating on the food, and we're sending our Keshik up here to go raid, but we see villagers on gold, so we decide to commit onto that because that might be a play for castle. So our Keshik's able to get some damage here, but the front of his base is getting murked really hard, and then our Khan spots out these villagers on food, and so that's when we're just going to send our whole army up and out to go deal with this. And while we do that, it actually would have ran through his army on woodline. He probably would have lost a bunch of here if I don't like automatically stop, but I think it would have continued and tried to take off this fight here to berries. So yeah, good game to opponent. Was a quick match. Hope you guys liked it and kind of saw, you know, early attacks hitting as much as we could, and we had really good rotations onto his resources that were most exposed. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on another one.